Dear fellow citizens, I need your help with this one. This is one I cannot pull off by myself. I took down Giuliani by myself, America's mayor in the 9/11 Commission hearings. Took me 3 minutes. See, you have the power to change the world. Any one person could change the world. Example, any of 7 billion people could kill Antonin Scalia in the Supreme Court. You've just changed the world forever. We all have the power to change all kinds of things, but the problem is it's human nature to be lazy. But here's an easy one. Again, I have to attack the 99% and not the 1%. Remember, the 99%'s argument is we are not the bad guys. It's the Bushes and the Cheneys and the Bloombergs. We're just the pawns here. Somehow, the 1% manages to outsmart us every time using the same tired tricks they used last time. All of humanity is the Lucy and Charlie Brown. The 99% are Charlie Brown, and Lucy is the 1%. And every time you say, this time she's not going to pull the ball, she is. Burp. I don't believe that the 99% are tricked by the lies of the media. I believe the 99% choose to pretend to be tricked as a coping mechanism. So they don't hate their lives, they look on the bright side, believe the happy lies, rather than the ugly truth. Because then if they face the ugly truth, they might actually have to get off their lazy asses and do something. Now here's the best example. Again, people always, one, you got to help me with this. People are wasting their time on police brutality or Monsanto or all these different symptoms of the problems. But none of these things are a problem. All of them are symptoms. You understand? Police brutality doesn't exist without the problem that created that symptom. Do you see? And child abuse or poverty, every problem you can name in society is all linked to the problem. Everything you can name is not actually a problem. It's a symptom of the problem. And the problem is clear as day in this modern era. It is the 1%. It is the media. Sorry, I just got baked. It's the corporate media. Do you understand that? So I'm going to sound like an idiot here, but watch. Trust me, I'm going to make a lot of fucking sense again. I always do. How does George Bush become governor of Texas unless the newspapers all misled their readers, their customers, or their viewers, about his coke arrests or his failed business ventures? It's not possible. You understand? Bush is nobody. Hitler is nobody. These were all people who were created by the media. Now, obviously, the media is just the trickster division of the billionaire capitalists. But regardless, it's the media that's the problem. If we fix the media, there can be no police brutality because the Daily News every day would challenge the police commissioner and the mayor who would look like fools if they didn't go after police brutality. They'd offer rewards for exposing police corruption, all kinds of stuff. We'd use common sense measures if only the media was honest. Now, luckily, Americans of both conservative and liberal natures are seeing or are realizing, wait a minute, the media is a bunch of fucking dirty scumbag lying criminals. We all agree on that. The media are a bunch of lying scumbag criminals. Here's what we don't agree on. I seem to be the only voice I hear out there saying this. None of what they're doing is currently legal, people. Let me say that again. Some of the bad things government does or Goliath does or private corporations do is bad, but legal. Nothing this lying media does is remotely legal. You can stop them. Any of us can stop them. I already filed my lawsuit, but I'm persona non grata. I have less power than the average human being because all the government's already united against me and red flagged me. I'll have to get sex change. So, name a problem in society. There can't be a Monsanto. Monsanto couldn't exist if the newspapers expose what they do. They'd go out of business. You see? If you go for the air shaft on the Death Star, I can't say this enough. If you go for the Death Star air shaft, the media, you destroy the entire Death Star. It's that elemental. Why do you think all the media outlets are shell corporations? Again, you've got to spread the word. Help. One, spread the word that it's not the 1%, it's the 99% who won't get off their knees. The 1% will do whatever the fuck we say. the moment we stand up, because otherwise they're fucked. They don't have enough weapons to stop us. They know that. That's why they bought media outlets to brainwash us into thinking police care about us. The military is a good guy. The CIA are good guys. That's why they created the media. That's why the CIA infiltrated the media, because they're scared shitless of us, and they should be. Conservatives and liberals, we agree on pretty much everything. We hate the fucking potholes that they gave us. We hate that they keep raising our taxes and we have less and less to show for it. Even the fact that there's conservatives and liberals is a fabrication of what? That's right. It's a fabrication of the media. There's no such thing as conservatives and liberals. Remember, there's no such thing as two sides of these stories. There's the true side and a false side, which doesn't count. People can't say, oh, no, there's difference of opinion. No, yeah, you're right. There used to be a lot of people said the earth was flat, and a lot of people said the earth was round. But somehow, 100% of these people changed their opinion. See, there wasn't two sides. There was one side. The earth is round. And then there was insanity or ignorance. It's that way with every topic. Republicans have just been... Nobody believes in God. These people were brainwashed as a way to control them. The right-wingers are suckers. The left-wingers are suckers. We're all in this together, you fucking assholes. Society is a team effort, so you need to fucking get off your asses. There's a zillion things you can do. But let me just finish this point. You've got to help spread the word that everyone needs to pull their troops off of these side wars. Fuck all of these. And we need to all aim for the heart of the beast. Corporate media. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of just how bad, using the New York Times, who I would argue is the dirtiest paper in the world. And at first you're going to say, no, that can't be. It's got to be third world dictator. Step forward and debate me. Step forward and debate me. You don't know all the facts. I know all of the facts. So let me make this point clear about how the New York Times and the rest of them deceive you. Now, example, any article in the any day the New York Times issues a newspaper that doesn't tell you at the top of it, disclaimer, millions of our stories had later proven to be false. Some had proven to be completely false. Some, and even at our best, we make massive mistakes. It should say that at the top of every newspaper. If it doesn't, that's a lie. They're misleading their customers. Do you understand? You have to disclose that information. If you're selling somebody a faulty product, you have to disclose that, like as is. Oh, this is used. It's not new. It's used, buying it as it is. But the media doesn't do that. 100% of media outlets right there have broken current state and federal laws. Let's move on. That's deception. It's fraud. It's fraud, and it's only fraud for one reason, monetary gain. It's fraud under the law, period. Fraud is a crime in every inch of America. Fraud is a crime on the stats and the books of every city and state in America. Fraud. Again, if they do it more than 3 times, it rises to organized crime. Every state and the feds have organized crime statutes. Now, if enough here's just one example. If enough citizens started bitching out the attorney generals and calling their offices and emailing them going, when are you going to fucking do your job? Why aren't you going after these liars at this newspaper? Why aren't you going after these liars at this paper? New York Times, they printed stories about weapons of mass destruction. Then they printed stories saying that was not all false. So that means they didn't fact check, which means they were negligent, and people died because of their negligence. Well, the Attorney General can't dance around that. He will. Not so much here's a funny point. If you did to Attorney Generals in other states, especially a conservative state, they'd be more inclined to take on the New York Times than a New York Attorney General. Do you see? And again, New York Times it's on sale in every state, and it's online. So no longer do these state divisions matter. Any state U.S. attorney in America can go after the New York Times because we were all robbed, not just New Yorkers. We were all robbed by the New York Times lying to its customers. And those stories were planted by the CIA, of course. Now, here's the good news. When you sue in federal court, the federal judges have lifetime appointment. They're not like the president or the Congress. In many ways, they are the most powerful branch of the 3 branches, the judicial branch. Now, all lower judges have huge corruption problems because they need to suck dick of Goliath to stay employed. With federal judges, we've given them lifetime appointment. They cannot be removed. So it gives federal judges, there are a lot of federal judges who've done some pretty bold things, standing up even to Bush Cheneys and stuff. Bloomberg has gotten his ass kicked almost every time in a court of law. He's a billionaire, but judges who stood up to him put him in his fucking place. There's a lot more of us than these billionaire pieces of shit like Bloom Turd. But, oh fuck, I gotta make this super fast because I don't have any memory space. Shit, what were my main points? The New York Times. Now remember that, one, any news media outlet that does not put on its cover, or at the beginning of the news broadcast, at the beginning of the radio news broadcast, if they don't say, on the hour, reminder to our customers, millions of our previous stories prove to be incorrect. Now that's truth in advertising. Anything less than that is a crime. And we know why they leave that out. And they think they have all power. They think they're untouchable. So they've gotten like the tortoise versus the hare. The media think they are too big to fail. The Daily News in New York is about to collapse. They just laid off a lot of their fucking douchebag liar propagandists. Ha ha. And even they admit, the New York Times admits they're on the ropes. They had to borrow $1 billion from the fucking Mexican billionaire. They're on the ropes. All of these papers and media outlets don't turn any profit. They're sham companies. They're sham companies. Zuckerman's rich enough now that he doesn't need the Daily News, but he couldn't sell it. Nobody wanted to buy it. We have them on the ropes, people. Let's fucking finish them off. Go to your your state attorney generals. You can also contact the Department of Justice, but Loretta Lynch now runs it, and she's a dirty criminal. The black woman Obama put in. Dirty criminal. The state attorney generals have to answer to the public because they will go down in flames if they don't. The Department of Justice doesn't give a fuck what the public thinks. But each state has a U.S. attorney, has an attorney general who has to be, I think they're all elected. Certainly in New York, he's elected. So he doesn't want everybody hating his fucking guts because he has to now run for another office after he leaves that office. Lawsuits, too. Anybody who pays taxes in America, which is every single person who breathes, can sue also for all the loss in our taxes, right? How many trillions were lost in Iraq? A lot. The New York Times admits now their stories were all false. Their stories were not fact-checked. We all agree that was negligence that caused somebody's death. We all agree that's criminally negligent manslaughter. We all agree they should be in prison. Every attorney general has to admit, you're right, they should be in prison. They've already admitted to the crime. Yes, I'm sorry, unless you argue, well, nobody died in Iraq. They've already admitted to criminally negligent manslaughter. The problem is, no attorney general has the balls to go after the New York Times, at least now near the New York Times, because of how powerful they are. The news media can take a president out in 3 days. That's why the billionaires created these media outlets that make no profits. They're fronts. They're organized crime fronts. Lastly, let me make this point again. One way I'm finding back, and I advocate for people, is any American civilian can file in a federal court nearest them, a federal RICO lawsuit. RICO is organized crime, racketeering, influence, corruption organization. RICO, famous organized crime statute. What I only found out a few years ago was any civilian. I thought it was just for like federal prosecutors to use against the mob. No. The way it's written is anyone can use it against any criminal enterprise. I heard it was used against the police department in Florida successfully. I haven't looked into that yet. What it allows you to do is, now, we were all the victims of government. Government is organized crime, literally. Under the statute of organized crime. Do you commit some systemic crimes more than 3 times? Yeah. But they run everything. But they don't run the federal courts in a lot of ways. So anyone can file this. It would cost you $500, but if you're poor, you file in form of pauperous, you don't have to pay anything. Just call your local federal court or something and say, I want to file a RICO lawsuit against the major media, ABC, NBC, CBS. I want to argue that I, as a taxpayer, me and my friends, we lost fuckloads of money and our lives got worse in every single way because of the lies of these newspaper outlets, and we can prove that. The Iraq War is just one example. Bush v. Gore, it's just one example. There's plenty more of these. We don't even get to elect the President of the United States. This fucking shit's insanity. Everything they tell us is a lie. It's a democracy? You fucking liars. It's not even remotely a democracy, even on paper, you fucking liars. But they lie to the American public so they can trick them. Any civilian can file a RICO lawsuit. I have filed mine, but I don't expect it to work because they've done so much to ruin my life. I have to move in a few weeks. I'm fucked. They keep ruining my life. They keep destroying it, so I am busy doing things like finding a place to live than working on these lawsuits. I don't know why the NYCLU and those other scumbags, lazy-ass scumbags, aren't doing anything. But you could pressure them. Again, if we stick together, we can do anything. Everybody in New York City breaks a deadly law every day. They jaywalk. and no police will go after them, even for a deadly crime, it's because everyone does it. The NYPD can't take on 8 million. Actually, it would be about 13 million a day because of the 5 million commuters. You think the NYPD is going to stand up to 13 million people? They are not. And they don't. So what do you want? You want free weed? You got it. Just fight a little bit harder. You want legalized abortion? We got it. Fight a little bit harder. Gay marriage? Fight. You want freedom? You want lower rents? It's your choice. What do you want? The problem isn't that you can't have what you want. The problem is you won't make any noise. You won't call up your politicians and fucking raise hell and go, I'm your fucking employer. We're also investigating lawsuits against individual politicians because, remember, we hired them like a contractor. They agree, all right, they broke everything they promised to do. All right, well, we all agree. You broke all your campaign promises, but we hired you based on those promises. That's an oral contract. It's legally binding. And we can prove the rest of the deal. But don't get me started. Let's keep this simple. That's organized crime. You ripped me off and everybody else off, and you did it over and over and over again. Organized crime. It wasn't a one-time crime. Planned conspiracy. Huge, huge. The feds could arrest every politician in America, but the feds are run by politicians across America. It's all an incestuous super Stalin Nazi fest. We can stop them, but only if you help spread the word. People go focus on the media, forget all these sidetrackings of fucking symptoms of a problem, and New York Times, let me finish with the New York Times, just how dirty they are. Here's an example. Now, the New York Times, when Bloomberg ran for office, nobody took him seriously. When reporters would ask him questions, he didn't have any answers to anything. The guy doesn't know shit. He's a moron. He only became a billionaire because he stole all of his money, people. You still believe that if you're successful, it means you're legit. No, it isn't. No, it doesn't. It means you're a fraud. Nobody has ever been successful without cheating. The Beatles admitted they cheated. U2, in their own autobiography, admit they cheat. Pink Floyd, in the drummer's book, he admits they cheated. All of them admit to cheating. Sinatra admits he cheated to be successful. They all cheated, people. Everything you believe is a lie. Those reality TV shows, guess what? They're fake. Santa and God, sorry, they're fake. You've been lied to about everything, and you know this, and you're getting fed up if you're not fed up now. I'm saying, commit. Let's all get together. Let's all stick together, and let's fix this shit. We can fix it in weeks, in a couple weeks. You see, the fucking Occupy Wall Street did a lot of damage. Politicians on both sides are talking about income equality, which they've never talked about. It's amazing. You can really change. Remember, all humans are followers. They'll do whatever they're told to do. The politicians will do whatever we say. The police will do whatever we say if enough of us say it. And this can be a bloodless revolution, people. But remember that. So, example, this is one of the tricks they use commonly. Bloomberg's run, let me try not to digress. Bloomberg decides to run for mayor. Now, he's not qualified in any way. They know that all of his businesses turn no profit. Now, but they all wrote he's a genius businessman. Really? But none of his businesses turn any profit? Oh, one does, the one created by somebody else. They don't think it's worth telling the voters, because they don't know who this Mike Bloomberg is. All they know he's rich, which to most humans are going to make him seem like a good guy automatically, which is horrible prejudice and usually completely wrong. They thought, he's rich, why would he steal our money? It's like saying, well, my friend's a cokehead, he's got his own coke, but I'm going to have him hold my cocaine too. You're going to find your cocaine's gone very fast. Grow up. Don't be stupid. So, I'm digressing. Bloomberg. Oh, you know how he made his first million? He was so bad at his job that Solomon Brothers said, Mike, you're a piece of shit who only cares about yourself. You're worthless in every way. You got the brains of a fucking tomato. But we have to pay you a severance if we fire you. And that's how much we hate you, that it's worth the $10 million to kick you out of our job and building. The media didn't think that was worth telling the voters. Do you agree? Do you think a civil jury would agree with the media? It's like, no, why do the voters need to know that this guy is such a failure, that he became a millionaire accidentally by being horrendous at his job? That's kind of newsworthy. But no, it isn't. What did Kardashian have to eat today? Why don't you start telling us what the Kardashians' friends are wearing today? Americans are realizing Operation Kardashian. It's all the same shit Hitler did, the same shit Stalin did. You have to distract the public. And we see Americans are waking up to this now. Okay, good. The zeitgeist is building. It's building. Let's get these motherfuckers. So anyhow, Bloomberg pays the most money in world history for advertisements on a municipal level. Millions of dollars go into the pockets of the New York Times, literally. Millions into the pockets of 1010 Wins, ABC News, local news. He gave a lot of money to a lot of people. The most money in world history to steal the municipal election. Those people now, in every article, had a legal obligation to tell their readers, and all their stories about how Bloomberg is legit, and all the stories that leave out all of Bloomberg's insane past, they have to, by law, disclose, full disclosure, at the beginning of the article. We got millions of dollars from Mike Bloomberg. Now, any article they write after that, filled with their horseshit, provable horseshit, no one's going to believe it. You see? If they tell their readers the truth, or put that disclosure in, and tell their readers the truth, no one will believe just that one disclosure of financial conflict of interest. They're out of business. That's why I've never once, and I monitor the media I'm an expert on these assholes in New York at least. Not once have they obeyed the law. Not once has the New York Times obeyed the law. Not once has Fox News obeyed the law, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've got them right there alone. And then even worse, remember Bloomberg, New York Times and all of them were like, we need term limits. The mayor should only do 2 terms. We got it 2 referendums. Both times people said yes. 2 terms, no more than 2 terms, no 3 terms, no 4 terms, 2 terms, no more. Bloomberg, then when Bloomberg offers them he offers them tens of millions of dollars for his 3rd election. He can only be mayor twice. All left-wing and all right-wing papers, because they're both fake, said, Mike, who needs term limits? Term limits are bad. It's like, but you wrote that term limits were good. And it's like, That's very well known in New York City. Any person can sue these motherfuckers for that alone. That one. And everyone agrees now it was a disaster. His last 4 years, even his fans were like, his last 4 years were his worst. Gotcha. Please, people, fight back. You have a right to self-defense. But you got to be smart about it. These people have a lot more money and resources than we do. Be smart. Spread the word. Media is the one force we all need to attack.